Moving your business online. The topics that we're going to be discussing today: evaluating your current business model, going the e-commerce route, assisting your clients and customers with the transition, and vital information about online business safety. Evaluating your business model. So we're just going to discuss just quickly to see what businesses can look forward to having an e-business option, and what businesses will really struggle or simply can't provide an e-business, and how to transition to e-commerce. And I'll be using the term e-commerce and e-business interchangeably because they are each interchangeable terms. So businesses that can transition, of course, are all retails, non-profit organizations, just for the fundraising aspect of that, attorneys, consultants, accounting professionals, auditors, persons that provide those type of services can do online consultations and bookings and everything, accept their payments and their fees and so forth online. Counselors and psychiatrists. To a more extensive degree, sometimes there might be a preference for in-person, but at this moment, I'm sure that virtual sessions are favorable. And educators can provide online courses, and if they have approval, they can have their own certification courses that are booked and carried out entirely online. Media houses such as news sites, blogs, and information websites. Musicians and artists can sell their mixed beats or even electronic prints of their artistry, music, and so forth online. They can also host online concerts and charge minimal entry fees, for example. So essentially, any business that provides intangible service or goods which can be delivered to the customer's home, those businesses can more smoothly transition into an entirely virtual business operation. Businesses that would struggle to transition to e-commerce. Babysitting and childcare services, for example. Although, believe it or not, virtual babysitting is on the rise. No, you cannot leave your child out and go out, but you can have someone who will virtually watch your child in a safe room that you set up within your home. And, just for example, I found that amusing. Tour companies, which has been a great worry on the island, but some awesome news is that virtual tours are a possibility, and this is something that I actually suggested to a friend of mine who has a tour company. Why don't you provide a virtual tour? It seems almost unheard of, but there are a lot of tour companies around the world that are essentially turning to virtual tourism. Accommodation providers definitely cannot transition to e-commerce, except to take their rental payments. Janitorial and housekeeping, vehicle maintenance and detailing, beauty and skincare services, dentists and surgeons. Any business that absolutely requires the physical presence of both the service provider and client will either have no possibility of e-commerce transition or require out-of-the-box thinking to develop a workable process. So, making the transition to e-commerce. You have to consider the software and the hardware needs of your company. The computers, how many persons are you going to need? What's the product load that you have? Do you have 500 products or 10,000 products? Do you have one service or many services? So those type of considerations have to be made in order for you to know what level of hardware and software requirements you will have to take into account when transitioning to e-commerce. You have to assess your personal skills and the skill bank that you have from your employee count. You know, are you great with social media? Do you have a staff member that's great with social media? Do you have a staff member that's already familiar with e-commerce or with website development? Who's great at sales? Things like that. So you can allocate the tasks of running your e-commerce business accordingly. Evaluate whether you want to go the integrated online payment option, which is going through the bank process, or a third-party payment processor, which is just about an immediate process. Once you contact them, you get the information, you sign up, they provide the details that are needed to get started, and you integrate the third-party payment processor system into your website, once your website is, of course, compatible. And you have to set time frames for when you want to launch, when you expect to finish preparing your website or uploading all your information to a ready-built platform. Know the time that it takes. Know the cost to expect and how much you want to spend with either option for the e-commerce. Know the cost and your preferred budget for e-commerce operations. So once you have a budget in mind, that'll help you to decide whether or not you want to go with option 1 or option 2. Option 1 being building your own website. Option 2, using a ready-built website. Many businesses, when they're first starting off with e-commerce, because going the ready-built platform route is a lot faster and less expensive, they'll opt to get started that way in order to get their e-commerce business presence out there, while they are working on the bank and website development process for hosting their own e-commerce store. So essentially the ready-built platform can give you the experience of e-commerce, so you can get used to what it takes with less risks, less investment, just to get you started while you go through the process of web development and e-merchant account approval. Have a good idea of the day-to-day operations. What happens when an order comes in? How do you package? What packaging do you have? Do you have to get boxes, larger bags? Are the bags that you have strong enough to manage the packaging and drop off? So bear all of those thoughts in mind as you consider the day-to-day process and operations in order for making your e-business successful. There are numerous marketing options when you have an e-business. You will probably notice a lot of like, share, tag, comment campaigns where you do a giveaway or some form of promotion to encourage your potential customers online to share your content or to comment on your content. Essentially, this helps you to rank higher in social media and online so that your business is more visible above the competition and so forth. We of course invite you to just reach out. We're always happy to help and we're happy to guide, regardless of what e-commerce route you decide is best for your business. It's an absolute pleasure to help in any way possible with you making this transition.